What's going on, guys? It's another episode of Kera Dangerous Talk. Seems like I'm always here with you guys. But today, unlike last night, I have a wonderful, beautiful guest with me, Miss Bianca McDaniel. How are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You are co-host of the Goddamn Fools podcast.
I am, yes.
My homie Evan, we worked at ESPN together, and I know that's a podcast he put together with you and another person. And you guys were nice enough to invite me on your show, so I really appreciate that. It was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's so nice to not be the only woman on the show because I'm just always arguing with the men all day long, child. I can't.
Girl, I'm telling you, sometimes you need a little feminine energy there with you, right?
Yes, yes. And can I tell you, right? There's something that I have thought of since the moment that you came on the show. I believe I was
Uh-oh.
pregnant when you came on. And
Yes.
this is my anxiety that always sticks with me. You had pronounced your name when you first came on the show. You introduced yourself, right?
Uh-huh.
And I have two cousins who are Kira and Kiara. And so when you
Wow.
said your name, yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna mispronounce her name. I know I am. And that is something that bothers me so much, especially considering how much, white people would just mispronounce black people's names just for absolutely no reason, right?
Hello.
And so I have a real big issue with it. And I always go out of my way to try and pronounce people's names correctly. And I was so pregnant and I had such a thick brain fog. And I was like, I do not want to say her name wrong. It's so simple, but I know I was going to mispronounce it. And it gave me so much anxiety. And I have thought about that since the moment I met you.
Well, girl, you should have said something good. You know what? Drop the anxiety because people have always mispronounced my name. It's four letters, but
Right.
I grew up with my friends calling me Kira. And then when we got to around middle school, high school, I started telling them, guys, you pronounce it Kara. And they were so upset with me. They were like, we're not gonna call you Kara. We've been calling you Kira since second grade. So it
Right.
literally, Bianca, it literally became this thing where they would always say, we've been calling you this since second grade. Since second Every time I want to say something, hey, you pronounce it since second grade, Kara, since second grade.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
they don't want to do
geez.
the learning. That's it.
Girl, one time I was in English class, and I remember the English teacher in high school. Her name was Miss Morgan, and she looked at me funny when I tried to tell people that my name was Kara. She goes, "Well, really, the way that I think she said the way that the e is used, it should be pronounced Kira." And I said to her, "You can say whatever you want to think, ma'am." But do you want me to call you Miss Morgan? Okay,
Right.
Miss Morgan. Do you want me to call you Miss Morgan?
That's real shit though. I really have a thing with that in speaking people's names the way they want them spoken. I mean, if we can pronounce Russian names and German names and all that other shit, you,
Girl,
you got to get it
don't
right.
play with me. Look, and you know me with my heavy accent. Sometimes I think I am saying the name right, but because of my accent, you don't think it sounds right. So, I
Yeah.
understand that side of the coin as well.
I love your accent. I could listen to you talk all day.
Well, thank you so much because you know what, living up in Connecticut and New York, either people like it or they're gonna mock you. Okay.
Yes.
And growing up, if you mocked me, it used to aggravate the shit out of me. Okay. It
Yeah.
used to aggravate the shit out of me. But later, I just kind of I just listen to it. I'm just like, I really show no emotion. So the person just ends up just going on to the next subject.
Built tough. Got to just, work through it.
Girl, I'm telling you. Look, I told people today that we were going to put a mental health twist on hot topics, dangerous
Okay.
topics, trending topics. So I hope you're ready for that.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Mental health is my bag. It's what I do all
Mhm.
day. So it's what I've been doing all day today. I've been in session since 10 this morning, back to back. So
Mhm.
it's a thing for me.
Well, please tell me a little background on what it is that you do, and how we're able today to bring the mental health part of this. I don't want people to think I think I'm a therapist or a counselor. I know I've actually brought somebody here today who knows a lot more than I do.
Yeah, so I pretty much knew I wanted to be a therapist from the time I was 7. I was a weird kid. I was a nerd, so it just
Mhm.
kind of went that way. And I, studied psychology in my undergrad, and then I went to Northwestern for my master's program. I graduated in 2020, right at the height of the pandemic, right? Fun for
Mhm.
me.
Yes.
Um, Luckily, through my military connections, I'm in like a military spouse group. I found a woman in Kentucky who was willing to supervise me so that I could start my clinical work. So 2 months after I had my son, I started working in Kentucky and Tennessee, and I am still employed there. My kind of like purview for mental health, I work very closely with the Black community on like trauma of diverse cultures. I work with women's health. I work with stuff like postpartum, just issues like
Mhm.
that, right, that come up. And couples work. I do a lot of marriage and couples work. That's probably one of
Need
my
that.
favorite.
One
It
of
gets
your
messy.
favorites. Okay.
I
No
have a
more
sorry.
drama. You dealing with a lot of drama if you dealing with some couples therapy, baby. I seen the shows.
You have no idea. But that's why I think it's some of my favorite work, because when you think about your life, right, and you think about the things that people work towards, everybody's like, I want to find love. I want to be in some type
Mhm.
of partnership. It's always a main goal. And so when those things break down and you come into therapy, helping somebody try to figure out, can it be put back together, right?
Mm.
Or do we need to go our separate ways?
Yeah. Leave me the hell alone. To the left, to the left.
Yes,
Okay.
and so I am very much that kind of therapist. Some therapists will have you come in and try everything to keep you together.
Mm.
Imma tell you, it's just not gonna work. Let's talk about
Okay.
because sometimes couples will try and try and try and try, and it's not even about the fact that they have issues that they don't agree on. It's how they
Mm.
speak to each other about those issues.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I like that, girl. You got serious real quick. Okay, you serious about that. Okay. Yes. Look, I
you
want to give
know
a
sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, like it's enjoyable for me.
I love that. I love people who are passionate about what they do. Because when I'm spending my money for therapy or counseling, I want to sense that you're into, and even though you gotta listen to my crazy, but the whole time I want to sense that you are enjoying giving me the best advice and that you can.
Yeah.
So I love it. I want to give a shout out to all the viewers and make sure you like this video, comment, leave us some great comments. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Kera Dangerous Talk YouTube page. Now, Bianca, we have been waiting to get together for a long time, so I
Yeah.
don't want to continue to delay what we came here for. You feel
Yes.
me? But
Yes.
Bianca, you better know what we got to do before we can get into it, baby. I got to hit 'em with the intro. Here we go. Love it when you talk that talk, talk that talk. Ooh,
I love
I
it.
love it when you talk that talk, talk that talk. Ooh, I. Ooh, I. Don't mind me, don't mind me.
Nah, it's a bop. I love it. I love it.
Yes. Look, since you the relationship expert, that's what I'm gonna call you. People like put expert on their name. We're gonna lift you up. I give you the
Thank
expert
you.
title. It's
Thank you.
somebody. Look, somebody I like, and people be hating on her. I just gotta say, don't be hating on J Lo. I like Jennifer Lopez. I don't give a damn. People be like, I can't believe you like Jennifer Lopez. Yeah, I like Jennifer Lopez. She bad, okay. Before y'all was worried about Kim Kardashian and her plastic booty, I don't necessarily
Amen.
all the way dislike Kim, but J Lo had the body for real. Black women had that body
Yes.
already. But
Yes.
J Lo, when we talk about entertainers, she had the booty.
She did. She
She had
did.
the booty.
Listen, one of my favorite movies growing up was Selena. I could watch that ass twirl all day. It's because of beauty.
Okay. Look, I love it. She's in her 50s. She's doing commercials for older people now. I think I seen her on a vitamin commercial. I was surprised, but I said to myself, you know what? I'm glad to see J Lo take her age in stride. She's saying, you can be over 50, you can work out, you can look good, you can dance, you can still do your thing, you can still bop, as you said. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I'm very for women empowerment. And I think as you get older, I don't know if this is the case for you, but I have found myself like aligning myself with women just so much more as I get older. I really
Mhm.
appreciate things like that, because a lot of times you hear growing up, right? Like after 30, it's all set for us. We out of here.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what? I'll be 32 this year, and I feel like, in a lot of ways, I feel in my prime. I feel better than I ever have. And so when I look at somebody like J Lo, who is aging very gracefully, you look at her face, and it's not filled with fix a flat or anything else. I mean, she might nip and tuck a little bit, but it's
Right.
gentle and subtle.
Yes. Very gentle little nips and tucks, perhaps.
Yeah,
Giving
but
a
she looks
shout out there.
real.
Yeah, she keeps it real. She has a face cream out. You know, she's into doing natural things to stay looking good as well. Her face cream, she said, it's a combination of different ingredients that her mom and her family have passed down and told her about to keep her skin and everything looking as good as it does. I want to give a shout out right now to all the viewers that's joining us now. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm here with Bianca, and we're putting a mental health twist on hot topics today.
Yes,
That is what we're doing. Okay, so J Lo. Okay,
let's talk about
J
it.
Lo. Okay, we said a lot of nice things about her. Blah 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 blah. Here she is, right here, so you can see her for yourself.
Girl looks
She,
good. She looked good.
yeah, she does the movie. She does the singing. Recently J Lo has been, she put out a statement saying she feels like the outcast a little bit in the entertainment industry. Like she doesn't. I don't know if it's that she doesn't get respect, or I think she just feels some type of way about being somebody who came from music and crossed over to acting. I think people who just act sometimes don't take artists serious when they try to um,
Yeah,
get into their craft. But hey, one thing they can't say about J Lo is that she doesn't try her best.
that's
Okay,
true.
she
That's
tries her
true.
best. Now, what I really came here for, Bianca, is to talk about them, like Mariah Carey say, them babies, them rings, Bianca. Now, I got this from the Wendy show, so thank
Oh
you,
my
Wendy
god.
Williams, and your people over there for this photo. But we see all the rings that J Lo has collected over the years from her fiancés.
Mhm.
When she was just starting to get some fame. I believe her first fiance, Anja. I know for a fact that I'm probably pronouncing this name wrong, but he was a Latino male,
Yes.
and she dated him, and she knew him from earlier on in her life, and that was the ring he bought her. Still a nice ring. He wasn't a celebrity to my knowledge, but that's a nice ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cute. And then
It's
we
cute.
move on to Chris ring she got. Chris was her
Yeah.
backup dancer. I don't know if you remember Chris. He had the bald head.
I remember.
Yes, he used to be in all the little pop videos back in the day.
Yep.
Then we move on to Ben Affleck's nice square shaped ring right there. Bling
Yep.
bling. Then we
That's my
move
favorite.
on to a horror being. One of my favorite singers, Mark Anthony, baby. I don't care what you say. J-Lo be
Yes.
trying to act like nobody she dates looks good, but you know what? Who cares when Mark Anthony sings the way he does? He can
And
sing
that
your
man can
drawers off.
sing. Yes.
Look, he can see your drawers off, and I'm pretty sure he did because they have 2 kids. So
Yes.
whatever, J Lo. Okay, back to the rings. Then she got a ring from A Rod, the former
Yeah.
Yankee player. A
Yeah.
Rod used to be so fine.
Right?
Yeah, he all
Right?
right now. He just get a little, he a little chunkier, even though he work out. But basically, she's like a Marvel. She's like that guy from the Marvel movie who was
She's
collecting
Thanos.
all the
She's
Thanos. Yeah,
Thanos. She is, yeah. I want to know what superpowers it's given her.
what superpowers that the rings have given her?
Yeah, she's got one for every finger now.
Girl, J Lo must got some of that Erica Badu
I'm
snatch.
trying to tell you.
Okay,
Because
we
you
know
know
she
Badu
earned it,
drive them
but
crazy.
yeah, she like the new Elizabeth Taylor who married about
Yes.
2,500 times.
Yes.
Now look, the news is that her and Ben, we know they back together. He
Right.
was with the other Jennifer. He married the other actress,
Yep.
but he found his way back to J Lo after A Rod messed up, cheated. Him and J Lo tried to work it out, and they didn't. J Lo went her separate ways. Looked like A Rod still kind of want a relationship, but J Lo said nope. time over.
Yeah.
I'm going. Look, she said, I want that old thing back.
Hey, spin block time.
I want that old thing back. So homegirl went back, baby, and she grabbed being back. Okay.
And
Look at
did.
them in the middle in 2003, 2001, right there on the right. That's when they first premiered each other again, when they went to a red carpet event. And then we have them this year in 2022, all smiles.
She looks happy.
She
If
looks
nothing
happy.
else, she looks happy. But now, we're going to put a mental health spin on it, right? And I was in the
Yes.
car listening to the radio the other day, and somebody was saying how her and Ben are shopping for homes, right? And I was just thinking casually in my head, like, I can remember the headline from when her and A-Rod were shopping for homes. And I don't know if you've moved around a lot. I just recently moved to a foreign country and moved back. It is so exhausting moving homes.
Girl,
That's enough to
what?
drive you crazy.
Girl, I'm talking about, because Ellen DeGeneres is known for moving every couple of months or every year, and her spouse, the actress, got sick of it. So yeah, moving is a pain in the ass,
And now when you add the other layer of like moving with a man, have you met men?
Yes, I have.
Oh, like exhausting. So now you have the merging of the things and then the dissolving of the things and then the re-merging of the things with the new man. I call crazy. I'm calling crazy. That would make me absolutely insane. How do you not lose stuff? And obviously they have money, they have professional movers and all that stuff, but like making a home that feels like a home for you and your children and the new man, whoever is coming into your life, that's a lot of work.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What I want to know from you is, Bianca, since
Yeah.
you the expert in everything, when is it still love? I mean, okay, J-Lo, whenever I seen her go on shows like Wendy Williams, when Wendy Williams was actually still on her own show,
Right.
J-Lo
Poor Wendy.
said that she loves love. She likes being in love. But this many times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And now 6, right?
Yeah, and not all these made it to the altar. But the point is, when people have relationship history like this, do you think that they have a healthy way of being in relationships? Because if you ask somebody like J-Lo, she may say, it's nothing wrong with me. I just like love. And those relationships didn't work out. But to the viewing audience, sometimes I think they get judged as something not being healthy in what they're
Um,
doing.
yeah, I definitely have that perspective, right? If I look at J-Lo's life, and now I'm no like, advocate to not dating or to, being a monk and hiding in your home. I think dating and finding love in your life is very important, but I think when's the last time we've seen J-Lo actually single? And especially for women, I think
Girl.
having your own identity is so important. And it's very difficult to do that in relationships, especially because
Mhm.
women are expected to assimilate to their man, right? We're supposed to
Mhm.
lose ourselves when we get married and we get in relationships. We're supposed to adapt what they like and what they want, what they need. And when you have kids, it's even worse because your kids don't give a damn. It's all about them.
Mommy, mama, mommy,
Yeah,
mom,
yeah. My son
mom.
eat all my food. He tear my shit up. He don't care. You know what I'm saying? So like when I look at something like that, I wonder how much of her life is her own. How much of her own life centers herself. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, when we're talking about wealthy people, it's a different conversation, but you're always linked to a man, baby. What is it like to just be you?
And see, I'm the friend that's always, if any of my friends have a breakup, and they may look at me and say, well, Kara, you're never in a relationship. But look, I give great advice. I always say, baby, step back. Give yourself some time
Yeah.
and breathe. And I guess I say that because I know how important it is to get your own thoughts together.
Yeah.
Hell, it's hard enough as it is. And then you want to add somebody else mess into the spin cycle. No,
Right.
thank you.
Right. And again, the expectations on men when they are in relationships or married is not the same as it is on women.
Mhm.
I worked with a client recently who's going through a divorce, and she said to me in the process, she was like, I realized this past December that I actually like Christmas, but I never decorated for the last 10 years because my husband didn't like it.
Mm.
So it's things like that where it's like it's so important for you to just be you before you get in relationships so that you hold on to the things that make you you.
Yeah, I'm hearing so many couples that say they even want to have a different living situation where maybe I live in my own room and you in your own room. And I used to think that sounded crazy, but the older I get, the more annoyed I get with people. And I'm just like, I don't want. I have to keep singing this. No more drama.
Drama.
Mary
Well,
J. Blige, thank you. She don't made a song to put me through everything, baby.
I love me some Mary. Well, I think, even considering that, right? Like having separate rooms or having different living situations. Obviously, like I'm married and we have a toddler. My
Mhm,
son sleeps in my bed every night, except when
mhm.
my mom will take him sometimes. And let me tell you, when I have the bed to myself now, I sleep like this. I look like one of them chalk
Oh my,
outlines.
I know it.
And so I think there is really something to having your own space, right? And especially
Mhm,
like when you talk like inflation, right? A lot of people can't afford, 2, 3, 4 bedroom apartments,
mhm.
homes, etc. There is nothing that will tear a relationship up faster than two people not having their own space. You need a man cave. I need some type of cave. I don't care if it's a beauty room or a exercise something or an office. I need a space to get away from you and just do my me things.
Please let me get away.
Please,
Please.
please.
I've been on my own for so long. I don't even know. It's just that personal peace. I enjoy hanging with myself to the point I think sometimes it's a little scary. Like, I enjoy me time.
I tell people this often. When you take time to be single and you fall in love with your main character, the focus of
Mm.
your life, introducing somebody into your world gets harder because anything that detracts from your peace, you are going to push away very quickly.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. See what the people are saying. They agree. They agree. So, do you think that J Lo has had time to assess the situations? Because no. Do you think
No.
that she enjoyed? Well, what is it? Why does she continue to do it? Then, do you think that she really thinks that she's following her heart, or is she just have maybe a problem with commitment?
I don't even know that it's that she has a problem with commitment. I think she would very readily commit to these men.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, I think we don't know all the details of why these relationships break down for her. Bits and pieces leak out to the media, but I don't think she's ever really taken the time to just be alone. And I worry about like the children. She was just introducing her kids to A-Rod's kids, and they were all playing family and playing house and all that. Now you're gonna bring them back and introduce them to Ben's kids, and they're all
That's
gonna
the
play
point, girl.
family and play
Thank you
house.
for bringing it up. You've been paying attention. That's what I'm like. You, girl. The women that grew up in our mama era, they used to be like, I can't have all these men around my children. When you brought a man
Mhm.
around your child when you were single, you used to say to yourself, they can't meet them yet. You can't just keep rotating men in and out. I was wondering the
Right.
same thing, Beyonce. They just met A-Rod children, and
Yes.
and then the media was saying, oh, they get along so well. They such a good a combination of a blended family coming together.
Right.
And,
And so, my family system brain starts working, and children need stability. They just
mm,
do. If I talk about my own life briefly, right? I told my husband, you could be in the military as long as you want, but once my child hits school age, we will be stationary. I'm not going anywhere. He is going to have
boo,
friends
boo,
who he
boo,
knows and
boo.
can count on because kids need that to develop social skills, to feel safe, right? If you're
Yeah,
always moving, everybody I meet is new, nobody knows me, recognizes me, that's very hard on children. It is. And now you
yes.
swapping out stepdaddies, swapping in extra children. That's hell.
You doing too much.
Too much. Too much.
Doing too much. And I want to say hello to everybody who's joining us now. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and here's the ticker right here. Boom. And don't forget, people who watching on YouTube, you can always send me a super chat donation. I don't like to beg for money, but it definitely does help. when
Shit,
you're
if gas get any more expensive, I'ma beg for money. Y'all can hit me up on Instagram.
That's right. Hell yeah, baby. That's the way we do. Now look, Bianca, we all love Viola Davis.
And I love me
Okay.
some Monty Viola.
She's a great actress. Who will say that she isn't? She's an Oscar winner, for
I
goodness
know where
sakes.
you're going with this.
You
I
know where
know.
I'm going. You know where I'm going. I gotta see your face. I gotta see your face.
I've been
Girl,
trying to avoid these videos and pictures all week, but it is bad.
you ain't gonna be able to do it. Because Viola Davis, look, y'all, she put her foot in any role that she played. You gotta give her that.
Yes,
Okay.
she does.
But right now on Showtime Original, it says right here, Academy Award winner Viola Davis is Michelle Obama, the first lady. Okay. And also in this film is Michelle Pfeiffer playing Betty Ford, Gillian Anderson playing Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, when I first saw the promo for this, Bianca, I'm saying to myself, she hit it. She nailed it.
Yeah. I thought the same. Yeah.
Look, the mannerisms.
Mm-hmm.
The little cute little pout of the face, the lips. Hello.
Yeah. I thought she nailed it. I was very excited to watch it. I love anything that Viola does. I love to support her. I think she's amazing. But baby.
Bam.
Oh,
This is what happened. So people finally got to preview this show.
that face.
And they went in on social media, as you can see on the Blavity. I hope that's the way you pronounce that Instagram page.
Yep.
A user said, Viola, get behind me. We're not going down without a fight. What they think, Viola the devil? Get behind thee, Satan? Look at that mouth. Now, people are mad at Viola because they said, you don't took Michelle Obama and you don't made a character out of her. They're wondering, is that what you saw when you see Michelle? It's almost like somebody who, a friend of yours, and you ask them to tell you how you act one day, and then they just go to a level where you like, damn, bitch, you think I act like that?
Or you ever had somebody take a real bad picture of you and you're like, get my good whatever, and you see the picture, you got 42 chins. Like, why were you taking the picture from under here? Is that how you view me?
What about when they say, but that's you though? That's what you look like. I'm like, bitch, I can look better than that.
I know I can do better than that.
What? Let's look at that one more time right there.
Oh God, you got to give a trigger warning. Damn. Listen. I can't put all of the onus on Viola. Who were the producers? Who was the director? Who filmed this? Looked at this and said, "Baby, that was a winner," because they need to be fired.
But come on, when I first saw her playing around with the facial expression, I was like, okay, I'm like, she about to go in on Michelle.
Yeah,
she about to do this roll up. But now seeing the extra exaggerated mouth movements, I haven't seen the show. Have you?
No, I can't bring myself to watch it now because I can't sit through an hour or however many hours of that. That's a comedy show. Like at this point, it's supposed to it's funny. It's almost like
it. I'm gonna watch it to laugh. I'm gonna watch it to laugh for sure.
Yeah, and I may still watch it just to support again because we all have a bad game or two. It's about the body of work, right? But boy, I would like to know what people on that set were thinking when they said, "Yeah, you nailed it. Move on to the next scene."
And that doesn't mean, coach, I did bad on that last play, but you can still put me in. I mean, sit me out for a few minutes, but I won't back in, coach. She'll be back in.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think this is like a career damager for her or anything like that, but I think for her it probably feels heavy because of who she's supposed to be portraying.
Right. Well, check out this short clip of a part of the promo that Showtime put up. Wait a second. I mean, look, that little hair, that wave, that little hair. She got like some of that stuff. She right on point with now.
Yes,
I
that's
mean,
very
come on.
Michelle.
That is a come on, Viola. You better, bitch.
Yes.
Excuse me. You better go, girl. You better go.
I
Oh
think
my God, that makes me laugh.
I think she did nail a lot of Michelle's presence, but them faces, it's the face. It's always the face for me.
Oh my goodness. I wonder how Michelle Obama feels. I want that quote.
Michelle. She's gonna, I'm enamored with it, and I thought it was beautiful. She's very politically correct and pleasing and all of that. She probably go and tell Barack, like, what the hell was she thinking?
Right.
She
Stop
wanted
the
me to
stop
pick.
the bull, man. Come on. Oh my God. Whew. Look,
I
I
needed
want
that
to tell
laugh.
people who are joining me right now, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Kera Dangerous. I'm gonna just keep saying it, guys. I gotta let y'all know. But before we go on to another thing, don't y'all forget that this is Viola Davis right here.
And a stunner. She's such a beauty to me.
Okay, that's Viola Davis. she,
Oh
she's a great actress. Moving on. So, pro skateboarder and model Brooklyn Corey shares journey of healing after losing lip in dog attack. Now, if you see that this is an old story from People, December of last year, I wanted to bring it up because this pro skater got attacked by, I believe it was her own dog. I read the article a while ago. The dog just happened to jump up and bite her top lip and wouldn't let go. She did
no. Okay.
everything humanly possible to get the dog off of her lip. But this is how it ended. Oh,
Oh,
my bad, guys. Trigger warning. I always
oh,
forget to say that.
please.
Trigger warning. Wow.
You
No,
know,
yeah. So the only reason I'm bringing this story up is because it triggered something out of me. And I said to myself, she trusted her dog. And how many times do we trust and it goes this way?
that's a heavy question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, often I think, we put our trust in things, and sometimes we do it blindly, and sometimes we
Mhm.
do our best guesswork. Um, but I think that's a good depiction of the fact that we can't control external energy. We can't control other people. All we can really control is how we react to things. And like you said, she did everything to get that dog off of her, but I highly doubt she ever thought that she would land in that position.
Let me let me tell you something. I saw a Breakfast Club interview recently with Garcelle Bouvoir.
Hmm.
Garcelle Bouvoir off of the reel that just was told they were getting canceled. But we
Saw
know
that.
Garcelle, she was a popular model, back in her time, and also was on the Jamie Foxx show, played Fancy. But I heard
Hmm.
her say something on the Breakfast Club that I know that I've said to myself. She said something to the effect of, she gives trust first, and then if you mess it up, then it's gone. But I hear so many people say you have to build trust. So I wanted to know from a mental health point of view, what's your feelings on that? Is it better to build trust or to start off with trust? Because to me, I feel like I respect people right off. You have to give me a reason not to respect you.
I think respect and trust are different things, though. I respect everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until you disrespect me, you
Mm-hmm.
have my respect. As long as I don't see you doing things that aren't worthy of it in my presence.
Mm-hmm.
But trust, I don't trust anybody blindly. That's just a no. I just don't. I think
Mm-hmm.
trust has to be built, right? You go
Yeah.
into like when you go into a relationship, you don't jump into being like boyfriend and girlfriend with somebody day one. You
Mm-hmm.
date them, you become friends with them, you build rapport and trust in that way. And so, yes, in that relationship, once we decide to take it to that level, I have trust in you. But just anybody, just somebody that I meet, no. know. And I think sometimes the internet plays a huge role in this because now
Mhm.
people think everybody is their friend. Oh, we follow each other on Twitter. I'm gonna tell you all my business. I don't know you.
Right.
You don't know me. You don't know me. You know what I mean? You see my tweets, you see what I allow you to see, but
Exactly.
I could be very good at curating what I want you to see. You don't know what's going on in my real world day to day. Don't trust me with your deepest, darkest secrets, baby. You don't know me.
You don't know me. So we've become too trustworthy. No, we trust people too quick, is what you're basically saying.
I think there's just an overall familiarity now because of the
Mhm.
internet where people just feel overly familiar. And so they overshare and they feel like just too close to other people. You know, not
Mhm.
everybody is a good spirit, not everybody is a good person. And that's just facts. Like, you
Girl, you
need to,
better say it.
you know, not that you need to be guarded, but you need to do your research, do a little homework before you just give something as important as trust to somebody.
I know one thing. If I'm her, I don't want another dog.
No.
Trigger warning. Whew. That's where trusting your dog gets you.
That is a
Wow.
lot to take in. I'm gonna have to recover from that photo for a long time. I want to thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Look, I do what I can. Now
I was
you'll have
not
that
expecting.
reminder of not to be so trusting.
Woo!
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You welcome. Now look, I gotta bring up something that I went over last night, but I forgot to bring this main point up.
Okay.
Blac Chyna.
Yeah.
She's trying to sue the Kardashians for money because she feels like they had her show canceled, her reality show with Rob Kardashian because of their influence. They had something to do with it. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about something they brought up in court. TMZ put this headline up. Let me move this ticker so you guys can see it. Blac Chyna gun to Rob's head was just a joke. Ditto for cable choke. So allegedly, Blac Chyna choked Rob, and she also pointed guns at his head several times. Now, people's relationships are hard, right, Bianca?
They are.
They can get tough. And I don't know about you, but I've been in a moment before in a relationship where you have a moment where things get a little crazy, and that's when you have to kind of pull on yourself to say, look, gotta walk away, stay calm, because being intimate, all those emotions, they can get to you. And
Hmm.
sometimes you don't see that person that you thought you loved so much across the room. You see a little demon. You like, where that person go? That's a little demon over there. That ain't you no more. That's a demon.
Yeah. Um. That's real though. That's
Yes.
real shit. Emotions in relationships run so high, and our
Mhm.
emotions are not logical. Like, you may function on a day-to-day basis as a very logical person, but what we feel makes no fucking sense. You can
Really.
try, it just doesn't make sense. It's not, 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = elephant, and you're trying to make that fit into your world.
Now, when you already have a volatile relationship, and even when you don't, how important is it to come to that relationship and you've been together for a long time? Is it to get along with that person's family? Because I talked about Blac Chyna's mother, Tokyo, and we know right now, she's talking a lot of smack about the Kardashians. But let's just say anybody who's in a relationship, how important is it for you to, especially if you're going to get married, to like that person's mother and father? Because you don't want to have a bad relationship with your in-laws, but sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you just don't like them
Yeah.
and they don't like you.
It's a common issue with couples I work with. It is a very common issue. And I
Mhm.
think the importance lies with what your core values are. If you're very family driven, if you want like holidays and stuff together, your kids to grow up around, their grandparents and stuff like that, it's probably going to be a main issue for you that you don't get along with your partner's parents. If it's not a big deal for you, if you kind of grew up like, only child with just your parents
Mhm.
around and you're not used to cousins and cousins, cousins and cousins, 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 cousins like me, then it's probably not a big deal, but it's about your core values, right? And
Mhm.
especially when you consider that grandparents play a huge role in raising your children. So what they believe, how they operate, what they think, those are core things that will be raised around your children, will be,
Mhm.
drilled into them. And if you don't agree with your, in-laws about major things, then what?
Then what? So is it a necessary? Is it necessary to have to get along with them though? If you really in love with a person and you just do not like their family, or just
No.
tough your way through it?
No, you can definitely avoid your parents if you want to. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but if y'all in love and y'all are happy and your relationship is stable, visit them once a year, throw them a bone, call it a day.
Well, you I know you brought up earlier that you work with pregnant women or something
Yeah,
to that.
yeah.
And we
Woo.
ASAP Rocky, I talked about him a little bit yesterday. He was detained when he was coming back from Barbados with Rihanna, who's pregnant.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. He's facing a jail sentence of up to 14 years while Rihanna gives up for birth, because allegedly he was waving around a gun in somebody's face on the streets. I don't even know how that happened. Did it happen? Whatever. That's the word. So my question to you is, because we see Rihanna, she's pregnant everywhere. Here's her on the cover of Vogue.
Yeah, I think she's due this month or next month.
Wow. And here they are here. But
Yeah.
Bianca, handling stress during pregnancy. And let's take the celebrity factor out of it first, because I just want to say, for all the people who's like, oh my God, this is so sad for Rihanna. It is. But then I have to say, how many regular women go through such bull crap? I watch Paternity Court. And let me tell you something, baby.
Not paternity court. I know that shit is
Paternity
bad.
Court. Good day, everyone. Good day. Yes. You see the nose? He ain't even gave no diapers.
Listen.
Sir, you are not the father.
Ooh.
And the girl don't know who it is. But my point is that it's plenty of women who go through BS when they're pregnant. But what are the real factors in this, and how unhealthy is it?
Um, it's probably a lot more dangerous than people think, especially because Brianna is a Black woman. Um, Black women's health during pregnancy is a major health issue right now.
Mhm.
Black women are 267.8 something percent more likely to die during childbirth. And
Wow.
I think, if you follow me on social media since I became pregnant and had my son, one of my main goals has been to just be so transparent about the process, because I think because people get pregnant and have healthy children every day, we don't realize how difficult it is to get pregnant, stay
Mhm.
pregnant, and deliver a healthy child. And it's that
Good
much
point.
more difficult for Black women to achieve. And you can go into a pregnancy as healthy as can possibly be. I was in perfect health when I got pregnant, and I still had health issues throughout my pregnancy that I had to deal with that came about because of simply being pregnant. When you talk about stress can lead
Mhm.
to early delivery. It can lead to preeclampsia, high blood pressure. It can cause
Mhm.
gestational diabetes risk to go up. All of these things that can kill you and your child.
Yes. So many risk factors. What is normally your advice for women who are pregnant and they're under all these stressors, and clearly maybe in their life at the moment things aren't changing quickly enough, but they just have to learn how to deal with that.
The first thing I look to is support. That old ass saying, like, it takes a village. That shit wasn't a motherfucking lie. It takes 12 villages to get you through a
Yes.
pregnancy and raising a child, because without support you're doing everything on your own, right? I was
Mhm.
pregnant in a foreign country. It was just me and my husband, and he's in the military working all kinds of hours, so I was alone
Mhm.
a lot. There was no village, and so I very much remember feeling isolated, alone. And then, like, you don't feel well. Like, people talk about pregnancy glow and all that shit. That's great.
Mhm.
Really, a lot of the times you feel terrible. You feel
Right.
terrible.
Thanks for keeping it 100.
Pregnancy is awful. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's about
Mhm.
5.5 women who think it's great and want to do that shit all the time. It's awful.
It's
It's
like the women who
painful.
say they don't ever have any cramps. I'm like, bitch, I hate you. Excuse my
So let me tell
language.
you, yeah, yeah, same. No,
Uh,
pregnancy was awful. I had cramps throughout my whole pregnancy, all kinds of stuff. It is really just uncomfortable and you feel crazy. I have never
mhm,
felt more insane in my life than between the period of getting pregnant and like that fourth trimester when my son was first born, those first few months. I literally felt insane all the time. And so you now add on the stress of, okay, yes, Rihanna's wealthy. She can have 42 nannies, her family, she can fly them in, whatever.
mhm.
But the stress of knowing that her child may not meet his father because he may be in jail for X amount of time, that
Yeah,
there's nothing that all the money in the world that she has, she's a damn billionaire. She cannot buy her man's way out of this situation, right?
right.
That is a stress that I wouldn't wish on anybody, not my worst enemy in the world, and definitely not while pregnant. Like she's about to do the scariest thing. I remember being in that hospital and I labored at home, being in that hospital and like my son was
Mhm.
coming. He was ready. He was just
Girl, he wasn't
moving.
waiting. Right.
And I was so panicked. And I had a black nurse and I remember just looking at her like, please don't let me die. Like,
Oh.
please let me make it so that I meet my child because the
Mhm,
likelihood of something going wrong, like you could bleed out on the table, just anything, like not to get graphic, but
mhm,
anything can go wrong. And at that moment, her being Rihanna, her being a billionaire, none of that will matter.
mhm.
And he could miss it.
He can miss it. And see, that's how when your mistakes come back to bite you in your butt, because this is not anything he did recently, but at the same time,
I mean,
you
it was
know,
like what, November 2021? She was pregnant then.
right. Well, okay, well, yeah, maybe my facts are wrong, but yeah, you're right. You're definitely right.
I think
Right.
so. I mean, I could be off, but I thought
No,
I
I
read it
think
was
you
like
are right.
November 2021. So she was pregnant. What business did you have shooting guns off? Like, again, at this
Hmm.
point, why can't you let go of that part of life? Hire security.
Hmm.
You're not that person anymore. You got a baby on the way.
Well, at least you shouldn't be that person anymore. It's time to grow up, and
Mhm.
that's what a lot of people have to be faced with when they have their first child. You got to speed up that growth process.
Yeah.
Now, I want to move on, and I'm sorry to bring these people back up, but the red table talk has started. And because I got a relationship expert on here, I want to say something that NBC News is covering. They say Jada Pinkett Smith says family is focusing on deep healing in first episode of Red Table Talk since Oscar slap. And we're talking about the slap that her husband Will Smith gave to Chris Rock at the Oscars of this year. And it says that some of those discoveries around our healing will be shared at the table when time calls. That's what Jada said in a statement at the start of the show on Wednesday. But consensus is online is that no, just leave it to yourself. You don't wait it till the hot moment was over. You know, by the time you bring Will on and have this session, we're tired of it. Will sick of it. But the real reason, Bianca, I brought this up for you is because we all heard how Jada came out and said that there's never a time for violence or whatever she said after Will Smith, slapped Chris Rock. But a lot of people felt like, well, your husband, who has had a good reputation of acting, having good behavior, and being a role model, all of a sudden he's acting irate because he's trying to protect you, which he has the right to do because that's his wife, but people felt like it was the wrong time. So sorry, airplane going by, guys. But at the same at the same time, do you feel that when you have a couple and issues going on, and at first they're together in the same feelings, and then Jada had to kind of step back and say, well, what my husband did was wrong? Does that do something to the couple? Because we're hearing rumors now that they're not really communicating that well and talking. And I don't know how well you can trust the rumors, but of course they always prefix it by saying somebody close to them said that they aren't speaking as much since the Oscar incident. Basically,
Yeah.
it causes rifts when you have to then go sort of against your spouse.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think especially publicly, like there's a like a meme or something on Twitter that comes up on my feed a lot that's like,
Mhm,
we know entirely too much about people these days. And I think that's a
mhm,
fact. We do. We just there's so many things about people who are in the public eye we just shouldn't know. We shouldn't have
mhm,
access to. Now, obviously what Will did was it was a public, display. And I think, there's going to be a lot of chatter around that, obviously, but all the other stuff, like Jada breaking with Will publicly and saying, she disagrees and things of that nature. I think specifically for Will, that's going to be a huge problem because of his background, right? He grew up in a very abusive home. He had to watch his father beat his mother nearly to death multiple times. And he always carried around feelings of, not being able to save her from that. And even in his marriage to Jada early on, he talked about how like Jada would raise her voice at him or she would curse and he would pull her aside. Like one time yanked her and was like, we are not going to communicate with each other like this, or we just won't be together. And so he has always been the driver of like peace and wanting to promote healthier ways to relate to each other. So for him to have a display like that, I think he's going to be his worst enemy in that. He already feels bad about losing control and reacting that way. Her like beating up on him a little bit more and agreeing with that publicly, I don't think that's going to feel very good for him, obviously. Like, I think of all the things that he's had to deal with publicly regarding their marriage and whatever they've agreed to, whether it was really an open marriage or it wasn't, or all of these things, he's been with other women, she's been with other men. I think this specifically is going to be the thing that they struggle with.
So you think we'll hear more about this down the line?
Unfortunately.
Now, just looking in as a therapist, do you think they'll make it?
It's hard to tell. For me, one of the predictors would be, how are they talking about the things that they have issues about, right? And I said this early on. Some of the education that I use when I work with couples is from like the Gottman Institute. If you guys are curious, to the listeners, like, and want to read about things regarding couples and relationships, there's a lot of stuff from the Gottman Institute that you can access online. But one of the main things that it talks about is in moments of disagreement, right? And what is a major predictor for divorce? And it's not that the couple disagrees. Even if you never agree on what the issue is, it's how you talk to each other. Are you disrespectful? Are you saying more negative things than positive things? Are you criticizing? Are there breakdowns in communication, right? We talk about like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling. Those things would tell me how their marriage is going to pan out.
You know what? And I had said something very nice to say, but then it just escaped me. I hate that. Oh, I know what it was. This is what was cringeworthy for me. When Jada and Will did the red table talk and they were talking about her sleeping with her son's friend, the R&B singer,
August. Yeah.
At the end of it, and it was so awkward to me. It's like something that you just a Freudian slip. It's just like they both said, Will Smith was in the Bad Boys movie, and they have that little line that they say, and they reached out there, they dapped each other fists, and they said "bad marriage for life," and they laughed. And when I saw Will's face, he just looked uncomfortable. He looked on the verge of tears, and it's like, that's not funny. Why would you want to make a joke of having a bad marriage?
And I remember watching that and thinking a lot of it was uncomfortable, and I couldn't figure out why. Like, a lot of men said, like, look, he's so embarrassed. And I don't actually think he was necessarily embarrassed. I do think Will does not like to talk about his private life publicly. I do think that bothers him. But I'm also aware of the fact that he has had other relationships with women that Jada is aware of too. So like, this wasn't a new reality in their marriage. I just think Will doesn't want to talk about it. And so this like agreement of like bad marriage or whatever, I don't know why they stay together. If at this point, I don't think that they actually have like the type of marriage where they relate to each other, still are like sexual in nature, anything like that. I don't see that when I see them interact. And maybe it's just a familial thing. They want to be in the same home. They want to raise their kids in the same household, whatever. And they have a good friendship. I do think they maybe have a good friendship at the bare minimum, but the rest of it, you have to make marriage fit your situation. I very much agree with that. If you try to like obtain the cookie cutter marriage that you hear people talk about, you will fail because it's hard.
Yes. I tell you what's hard is to figure out how to say the right things and not get in trouble, because we're gonna tackle this next topic, and I got a lot more for you. So I'm gonna try to get these next few topics done before we have
All
to get
right.
out of here. But Zaza Wade, Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade's um transgender child
Hmm.
is pictured in the black blouse or the black shirt with the jeans with no shoes. We all know Zaza is a trans um, transgender girl, so a boy who wants to make a transition to a female.
Yeah.
And in the middle, we have Dwayne Wade's other son, and I guess that's his girlfriend, and they have their small child, a family photo. But then you look and you say, who's this white kid on the end? You know, who's that? Well, apparently, this is Zaza's uh, new boo. Okay, and Zaza is 14 years old. And I looked up the grade equivalent because Bianca, I have to be honest with you, I forget what grade goes with what age, but I did find out that this is probably the ninth grade. So we have these photos here,
Yep.
and what you have to know is that the person that Zaza's dating is actually transgender as well. Was a girl and trans. Oh God, you get all tongue twisted. Making a
Yeah.
transition to a boy.
A boy. Yep.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of this photo on the right here, which I'll bring up bigger. Boom. This is Zaza. And I'm just like, who took this picture? Now, people said that, are they trying to make Zaza a sex symbol at this young age? Is this too much exposure? Is this exploitation? And shouts out to Plain Jane, a YouTuber who joins the show a lot. She did a great breakdown of this. And my question to you is, not even talking about the transgender part. I'm just saying you 14 years old, and I don't know that the Gabrielle Union didn't take that picture, because she seems to like to put this baby out there on her social media. And I get supporting your child, because the suicide rate for transgender people is high, I believe. And
Yeah.
but 14 and you posting these pictures of social media, I don't know. My parents would have been like, you better not post a damn picture. Now, granted enough, social media wasn't popular or even together when I was this age.
Right.
But am I just dated out, or is this still inappropriate?
So I don't think the relationship in nature is inappropriate, right? Kissing in freshman year of
Mhm.
high school, it happens, right? She's a
Mhm.
freshman in high school. People kiss. It's around the age that you start having your first dating interactions. That all seems very normal to me, right?
Mhm.
There's a reason why, like in high school, they start talking about like what is the age of consent to have sex and all those things, because people start dating. But the internet is a disease. And I
Mhm.
wish sometimes that we could kill parts of it, because I don't think that we need to be putting our 14-year-olds having their first, dating experiences on the internet. And it has nothing to do with either one of them being part of the trans community. I mean, 14-year-olds, period. Like,
Mhm.
because they're just at such a fragile age. You know what I mean? And it's one thing if they post that stuff to their own private Instagrams that,
Mhm.
their little friends follow or whatever. But like, again, everything we post on the internet is permanent. Everything that these kids are experiencing, they're growing up in the eyes of millions and billions of people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't have wanted my first kiss on the damn internet.
Yeah, but I'm just like, and I know ninth grade you may have a moment where you kiss, but I think it's just they put everything out there, and I just don't know anybody in ninth grade who parent would be like, oh, it's okay to me that you posted a picture of you kissing. I just don't know any parents like that. And when you surf the internet, people always say, well, they're celebrities. I'm gonna stay in my bracket, my
My
tax
income
bracket.
bracket. Yeah.
But the thing is that nah, bump all that. They the one who put their business out here for us to comment on. So I'm gonna stay in my bracket for now, but that don't mean I'm not gonna talk on what you got going on because yeah,
Right.
Gabrielle and Dwayne Wade, they put that child out there like this. What if the child and I guess they said that Zaza wanted to be this figure, but if you go back, there was a moment when Zaza was getting bullied online, and I remember Dwayne Wade talking about it. And I don't know if at that point Zaza stepped back from social media, but now Zaza is out there full force, full fledged out here on social media.
Right.
But what if it becomes another thing where the bullying starts again? And I know you can't live life scared, but I just, to me, don't make so many decisions that you're gonna have hard changing later.
I just think like in terms of protecting our children, right? Like, and if I go back, like I think MySpace was really big when I was in high school and was first dating, probably my first major relationship. Um, and then like Facebook came in when I was in college. If I go back and I look at those things, like
Mhm.
I wish that I had the education about the internet that I know now. It just wasn't there. We were the like test dummies for all of that stuff, right? So like if you pull up my MySpace right now and you'd be like, yeah, because the picture of you kissing your man from 2005 on there, and I'd be like, yeah, you're probably right. But I wish there wasn't. You know what I'm saying? I wish there wasn't that trail of my life's history. But I was so young, and our parents didn't know anything about the internet. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? We're just learning that first generation now, and especially because of the nature of their family and the history that they have. it, I think it's that much more important to be careful, like what you set your child up for. When we look at stars, and especially like Disney stars who were
Mhm.
famous as children and grow up, a lot of these children are losing their damn minds in Hollywood
Oh
because they're
my
living in a
God.
fishbowl. They're living in a fishbowl.
You know what, Bianca? Let me see your face. How do I get your face back? Boom. You girl, you just segued beautifully. Mwah! Meatballs and spaghetti. Okay. Meatballs and spaghetti. Because I was gonna take it here. You said Disney.
Mm.
Oh, Amanda was more Nickelodeon. She did some Disney though, right? Didn't
I,
she?
I think so. It's hard to remember now. My old
It's hard.
brain.
It's hard to remember, but you know what I didn't forget is that Amanda Bynes, for a long time, I used to brag on her, and I used to brag on her as Raven Simone, because I
Yeah.
thought that out of all the kid stars, they kept it together. You, for the longest time, you never heard anything bad about them, and then
Right.
one day it all broke down for Amanda. It all broke down for her.
It's a
But I want you to
lot.
take a look at this headline. It says Amanda Bynes conservatorship ends. I have been working hard to improve my health. I wanted to bring this up because people have been so concentrated on Britney Spears' conservatorship, which she
Yeah.
won, which I'm a big fan of hers from back in the day. I'm one of the few fans who feels like she still needs some guidance. Okay. Sometimes getting that public help is nice, but I think sometimes people just say, well, oh, we're freeing Britney, but Britney still needs some help. Okay. So, you guys don't just be a fan, really see the person for what they are and what they're doing. Don't look at them
Right.
as their alter ego.
Yeah. I think too, and this is to speak to my own industry, there are empty pockets in mental health that we need to start filling and looking at more closely.
Mhm.
And I look at conservatorships as kind of one of those pockets where um, you know, it's like an all or nothing situation. You
Mhm.
sign a conservatorship and this person has no say in their financials, in their dating life, in their health
Mhm.
decisions. It's just everything is kind of given to somebody else. And there's no in between. So when you live like that for X amount of time, right? It's almost like being in prison, right? When you come out of prison, you're
Mhm.
like a fish out of water. Now I've been in prison for 10 years. I don't know how to navigate none of this shit.
Yeah,
What
you
the
got to get
hell
it
is
back
Uber?
together. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to do any of this. And so, if you have been in a conservatorship for most of your adult life, you don't know how to manage bills. You
Mhm.
don't know how to schedule and go to doctor's appointments and make health decisions because you haven't been doing them.
You know, you bring up a good point. I want everybody to go back and look at this photo of Amanda Bynes. Now it's my fault because every time I load up pictures, there's always one that doesn't show up. I had a picture of her from the past where you could see how she was always done up, always looked great. Now this is a picture of her now. Now, her erratic behavior included back in the day a hit and run DUI incident before she was finally diagnosed with mental illness. Her parents said in mid 2013 that she was paranoid, using drugs, and spent 1.2 million in a few months on drugs, and that's a lot of money.
Yes,
That's a lot of money. And saying all this, I want to say, because you hear sometimes people just throwing out the word crazy. I had Victoria Rowell on my show, who was one of my favorite soap actors of all time. It is one of my favorite. And it was people in her industry who wanted her to be blackballed just because she was fighting for what was right. And the word that they wanted to throw around and use for her was crazy. I mean, I've had people call me and dismiss me as crazy when I stand up for things. So as a therapist, I just want to know, what is the damage in just calling somebody crazy without actually knowing their story?
a lot. A lot. Context is everything. I lean into being called crazy because, especially I think towards women, it's one of people's favorite like first insults. Oh, she's crazy. Oh, all right, I'll be that. There's worse things. But
I'll be that.
I'll be that then.
Wait a minute. I haven't got a chance to use this. You talking your shit.
Oh, I love it when you talk that talk. Ooh, you know I love it. Yeah. Ooh, you know I love it. Yeah. Ooh, you know I love it when you talk that talk. You know I love to talk that talk. Been like that since
I could walk, but hustle drives me never parts. I want the front seat like Rosa Parks, ball of the city like Russell Park, Bill Spark to my city Olympic torch. I'm sorry. Look, you was talking your shit. Go ahead, my bad. I hope you gonna remember.
No, for real. I have no problem being called crazy. I'll lean into that because it's always one of the first insults towards women, right? To discredit women. And I think like, when you are making a stand against things that you know are wrong, there's always going to be that friction. People are always going to think you're crazy. You're going against the grain. And when I work with people, it's one of my number one asked questions. Am I crazy? Does that sound crazy? And my answer is always no. It's not. It's not crazy. When you look at like an Amanda Bynes or a Britney Spears, they grew up with people watching their every move. They grew up making every mistake on camera. They grew up with everybody criticizing them. I don't think people realize how hard criticism lands on people. You know what I mean? When you criticize people often enough, they become a shell of themselves because everything is up for grabs. So how do you make decisions without worrying that it's going to be criticized next? And so it's very easy to make a person feel different. When people come into therapy, I hear that often, like, I feel like this is such a weird experience. I'm like, nah, I got 12 other clients who are having the same one, child. We all live the same life.
You probably like, I wish somebody would come in with something new.
You know what I mean? But we all have that heightened awareness about ourselves. Like, we're so different. We're so weird. We're so like awkward to society. No, a lot of this shit's been done and done before. It's just you don't know that. So you feel crazy already. And some of the most validating experiences for people in therapy are being told, like, that's very normal. Just very simple like that. That's very normal.
I say that to my therapist all the time. Is that crazy? Is that? And he's like, no. He's like,
yeah. And then people don't understand too with like an Amanda Bynes, all those drugs, like, I like me a little liquor. Sometimes I like me a little weed, but that's about it. But even that, if I'm somebody who has a brain predisposition to something, smoking a little weed could cause me to develop drug-induced psychosis. I've seen that before, where a person who was very normal, very not crazy, now all of a sudden got a little high and is hearing things, seeing things, hallucinating, and it stretches for long periods of time, and sometimes it never goes back.
Oh my God, thank you for bringing it up, because I think I personally know some cases of people who've had that experience. And can you just speak on the fact that a lot of times when that happened, though, because I know we have people that smoke, it's like, oh my God, people always talking about smoking. But if that happens when you smoke, wouldn't you say that the person already has that mental disposition already somewhere in their head, and that the smoking just kind of triggered that mental issue that wasn't seen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of times, especially when you're looking at like people whose brains aren't fully formed yet, right? It takes until 25 for our brains to fully develop. So when you start smoking weed before that, if you already have some type of like familial, relation to like say schizophrenia or something like that,
Mm.
that stuff is there in your genetic coding. And sometimes drugs can cause it to unravel where if you had never gotten high, maybe your brain never hit that part, or maybe it just did maybe later down the road. It's hard to like perfect the science on that, but it definitely happens to people. And it's one of those things where you're like, I know 465 people that smoke weed every day and they fine, and I'm sure they are. But there's
Right.
one person who smoked weed and they have not been fine ever since. And it wasn't the weed; it's brain chemistry.
Like people in college who will smoke weed and study. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to smoke weed and study. Are you kidding me? I'll be thinking about everything else. But some
Right.
people say it gave them straight A's. I'm just like, no, buddy.
It would have gave me straight Z's because it just makes me sleepy, and that's it.
Oh my God. For all the people that's just joining us now, we have a little bit more ways to go here. But I want to thank you so much for joining. And I just want to tell you guys to make sure that you subscribe to the Kera Dangerous Talk YouTube channel. I'm also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. The podcast is actually an Anchor podcast, but I go out to a lot of other platforms. Just type the name into your Google search, and I'm sure something will come up. And just to let you guys know, I'm a little behind on posting the audio episodes. And I know that looks bad, but I'm going to get better. And I also want to say, make sure you check out episodes of Kera Dangerous Outside. I started this other show just a little while ago. I think I have 2 episodes up so far. This episode will be coming soon. This is when I went to the Jet Room Dispensary in California. Had a wonderful time. This is I believe this was the vice president. I forgot her name. Beautiful young lady, though. She gave me some nice products before I left. So I really love her for that. Thank you so much. They hooked me up. I got like a couple of $100 worth of items at the dispensary. And it's like the biggest dispensary in the desert in California. And I can't even remember the area to tell y'all, but don't worry. This show is coming, so you will get to see it. Then on another note, make sure you also check out my recent interview I just did with Royce the 5'9". That video is up, and I had something to share. I woke up this morning and someone wrote an article about this interview. Of course, I thought I had the clip to show you guys, but I do not. But if you look on the YouTube community page, you'll be able to see it there. But check that video out as well with rapper Royce the 5'9". We talked about a lot of good stuff about Eminem, Slaughterhouse drama, and more. Bam, now we back. All right, we got about 10 minutes here. So, Bianca,
Yeah.
I just want to, let's see what I want to get into next. I want to show you this because sometimes I just see stuff on the internet that I want to bring up. And I saw this meme. And do you want to read that meme for me?
Females, repeat after me. I was wrong and I'm sorry.
Bianca, is that really an issue for females? To apologize?
I think it is. And the reason men are not going to like this, I'm sorry, fellas, but I think that there is the perception that men are the ones who often fuck up, right? And it is not necessarily untrue. Men do mess up a lot in relationships. And so I think sometimes women struggle to apologize to them because they feel like, if I'm wrong in your eyes, I must be wrong as shit. And so I'm just going to avoid it altogether because you be wrong all the damn time.
You be wrong.
Yeah. And so I think sometimes women struggle to apologize to men. And I think it's because it's sometimes too, it's one of those situations where it's like, well, you were wrong 9 times out of 10. I'm wrong the 1 time. I mean, you only apologized 4 out of those times. And it just becomes, I think, a numbers game with women. For me, I think growing up, I grew up in a household where I wasn't often apologized to. So I'm very much I'm sorry ass bitch. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I apologize too much. I don't even I need a new word. Like, make up a new word because I'm sick of saying it. I had asked my therapist, I'm like, do I say sorry too much? Because motherfuckers ain't apologizing to me. And it's making me mad. And he's like, well, you have to be okay with you giving an apology. I'm okay with it, but I be damned if somebody else don't open their mouth and start giving me an apology, it's finna run dry. Okay.
Yeah.
It's about to run dry. You see, I'm passionate about it.
Me too. I'm very big on apologizing. I never want people to feel like, oh, she just never thinks she's wrong. Now I get it wrong a lot, child. I be
Yes.
wrong. Like, but I'm also teachable, and that's important for me.
Now that's the word, teachable. Now, women learn how to apologize. And
That's where I live.
like I said, I like to grab memes from social media because they be trending. And one meme that I want to show you guys is this. Well, it's not a meme, but a, a radio station from Atlanta, and I did have the name here because, of course, I cut it off, but I just wanted to give them the rights and let you guys know who set this question up. Why are we oversharing and demasculating our men? We already dealt with oversharing when we talked about Will Smith and Jada. But if you see DJ Envy from the Breakfast Club is pictured here on the left with his wife. Now, I did recognize that just the other day, him and his wife went on his own show, The Breakfast Club, to talk about, I guess, a book they'll be dropping about their relationship and relationships in general. And in one part of the book, Miss Envy, I believe she said that it's been times where she had to fake it in the bedroom. And so I'm assuming that that's the reason why they asked, why are we demasculating our men? But people in the comments were like, we ain't doing nothing. They doing it to themselves. And before I go to you for your expertise, all I have to say is that beta boys are at an all-time high. And yeah, everybody can't be an alpha male. But if I want to take Puff Daddy words, it's just a lot of bitch assness going on around here.
I used to have a shirt that said that.
Yes. Expert opinion, Bianca.
So I think, again, I don't know what kind of conversations these couples are having, but I also don't necessarily believe that I have the power to demasculate a woman, to demasculate a man. I don't think that I can take away your masculinity. I think that's for you to decide. I do think that, one, I'm very against, just coming out and sharing information about your private life without your partner's consent. I think that that's wrong. It's a violation of privacy, a huge one. So if they sat up there and decided to discuss this, I assume that he knew she was going to say this. You know what I'm saying? I have to make that assumption. He didn't seem surprised. So, and also, like, if you are in a committed relationship, why isn't your partner's sexual pleasure a primary goal of yours? Like, how did this even come to be a conversation that we're having in public?
Right. And it may just be they want some salacious stuff out there to sell their book. Because to me, if my partner want to get on there talking about they faking something with me, I'm gonna have a problem with it. Like,
right. Like, some things are just for private.
Yes. But hey, that's their tell-all book, and I guess they that's telling it all for them. I want to give an honorable mention because we know that Cardi B and Offset from the Migos, they've had their own challenges with marriage, and Cardi's tried to leave him a couple of times because of alleged cheating, and they just hit the cover of Essence, and I thought they looked pretty good. I said, you know what? I'm gonna give it to them. They looking good. Hopefully, he can keep his little thing in his pants.
Do.
And continue to grow this family with her. So, honorable mention. And the last topic for today's show, and I just wanted to bring it up because we're talking about abuse in relationships. And if you turn on your TV, you have to see that Johnny Depp is actually in Maryland dealing with the case of him and his ex-wife, actress Amber Heard. It says here in the Huffington Post, Johnny Depp testifies he was berated, abused by Amber Heard. Now, I've seen a little bit of the footage from the courts. They've asked him questions about his drug use, and they asked him, did he do drugs with a friend of his? And he said that's a weird question to ask. But then he went on and said, yes, I have done drugs. And they asked him, did you do cocaine? He said, yes, I've done cocaine. And it's been other drugs that Johnny Depp has done as well. But it's Johnny Depp. Is anybody surprised that he does drugs? I'm not.
No.
I mean, no, it's Johnny Depp. Okay. I mean, and that's it. You could just say it's Johnny Depp. So you're dealing with a partner who does
Right.
drugs. Now, I want to show you a little clip here and then we'll discuss. It's part audio, part video. Here we go.
I felt heat. I felt heat, and I felt as if something were dripping down my hand, you know. And then I looked down and realized that the tip of my finger had been severed, and I was looking directly at my bones sticking out, and the meaty portion of the inside of your finger, and blood was just pouring out, and at that point, I think
look at her face. That's a black woman's face. She's like, what?
I don't know what a nervous breakdown feels like, but that's probably the closest that I've ever been. Nothing made sense. And I knew in my mind and in my heart, this is not life. This is not life. No one should have to go through this.
Finger was cut, Mr. Depp.
It's the middle. It's the funny looking one. It's the middle finger.
It's the one that you can't look. She cut off the finger that he can't even say, you know what? Screw you, Amber. Okay. Variety.com is saying that Depp has accused her of throwing a bottle at him, severing the top of his middle finger. So abuse in relationships. What's your take on this, and how it has to feel to have to play this out in court?
It's got to be painful for both parties. I think in the beginning, she accused him and people thought he was the villain. He lost jobs and all that stuff. And then it came out that she's actually kind of a psychopath and she was abusing him quite a lot. And now as you kind of listen to the recollections, it all just sounds like a very heavily drug-induced haze. Like sometimes I'm listening to it and I'm like, did either of these people even know what planet they were on when all of this stuff was taking place? I'm not even entirely sure. I don't ever really know if Johnny Depp realizes he's on Earth or if he just exists in a completely different plane than we do. And I mean, I love me some Johnny Depp in movies. I think he's an amazing actor, but I don't know what happens in his mind. It seems a little different than what's going on for the rest of us. And I can't make out, you know, in a situation like this, you're trying to decide, okay, like who was the bad guy or like who, you know what I mean? Like who did what wrong? And they're, for lack of a better word, they're both a little crazy.
Both a little crazy. And when you deal with partners that are on drugs, that just makes it twice as hard.
Right. Yeah.
Look, I hope today we got everybody together, Bianca, because I feel like we did a good job putting a little mental health twist on these topics today.
I loved it. It's my favorite thing. Thank you so much for having me. I really love being on here.
You know what? That means a lot. And I want to tell you, because I didn't get to tell you in the beginning, I normally give flowers, but I love your hair. It looks
Thank you.
So much volume, beautiful and black hair. I love that. And, thank you for joining me on here. And before we get out of here, I want to give people something to think about. You want to read that for me, Bianca?
Body wants sex, heart wants love, soul needs peace. Amen.
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 So y'all take that with you and you think about it. And I also want to remind you, don't forget that my album is not new, but it's still out. Kera Dangerous 2. Check it out on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Just put it in Google and you will find it. And Bianca, this was lovely, man. This was lovely. Can you tell people where to check you out at?
Yes. Hi, Bianca, on all socials. If you are looking for therapy referrals or anything like that, I work in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Connecticut. So you can find me there.
Yes. And your podcast,
And the podcast, the goddamn fool's God Evan is gonna kill me for forgetting to say that. I'm sorry.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Where can they check out your podcast, Bianca?
Oh my God. We're everywhere that you can find podcasts. Evan says the list every day in the show, but you know my brain is fried. I'm sorry, because I'm running late for a session, so I'm starting to get anxious.
Oh,
but
my bad.
No,
Look.
you're good. Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, all that. We're there.
Okay, we're out of here, Bianca. Have a good session. See y'all later.
Thank you.